Bill Schwab, winebuys.com here, and Barry Downing stopped by, fresh in from South Africa where he spent his holidays, and we just tasted the Oak Valley and the Reveille line. Reveille line. I knew I pronounced it wrong. And we should be able to pronounce this one right.
It's a little bit easier.
The Grinder.
The Grinder.
And he just cracked this bottle, and I haven't even brought it to my nose. I already smell the coffee.
Yeah. Absolutely. This is, folks, this is called a coffee Pinotage. It's an actual category. Most of us that taste Pinotage, if you like taste 10, you like 2 of them, you're doing pretty well in America for the most part. But this was a mistake. 7 years ago, a gentleman by the name of Bertrus, I cannot pronounce his last name, so don't ask me that. But at Dimmersfontein, a winery in South Africa, he had made a mistake. He was trying to figure out, most of his vineyard was Pinotage. He was doing all these different testings and sampling of how to get people outside of South Africa and a little bit of Europe to drink his Pinotage. And he was doing all these different mistakes, closed up his cellar, came back in a couple of weeks to check on it. He walked in and said it smelled like he walked into a Starbucks. And it was all because he had done some heavy toasted wood staves into his tanks on this one section. And he had a buyer for this large chain over there called Checkers in South Africa. The guy went up, smelled it, tasted it, bought everything he had. And it's been the little chic, nouveau style, nuanced wine of Europe for the last handful of years. And in South Africa, this is what everybody's talking about.
You know what it reminds me of a lot? I'm going to turn on a friend of mine who owns his own coffee grinding facility. He roasts and grinds his own coffee bean. And when you roast it and grind fresh, coffee doesn't taste like coffee. It almost gets the nuances of wine. I get a little bit of berry out of it, a little bit of, sometimes a little hint of smoke, sometimes a little hint of leather. I get some fruits to it too. I even get apricots or sometimes depending on where the coffee comes from, especially those Ethiopian will get sort of a stone fruit sort of thing going on to them. And this is what this sort of jumps out to, because it's not straight Starbucks coffee. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Starbucks. Glory be, they made a ton of money, but it's simple, straightforward coffee. This is complexity with hints of coffee notes to it.
A little mocha going on, dark chocolate and mocha creme brulee almost. But yeah, this wine here I'm so excited about because there's a lot of different, there's a couple different styles of Pinotage. Now, Pinot Noir, Pinotage is a crossbreed back in the 1920s of Pinot Noir and Cinsault. At that time called Hermitage. Pinot from Pinot Noir, Tage from Hermitage, Pinotage. So when you get Pinotage in different styles, you get some that are going to be bigger, like the Cinsault, parent, or you get some that are going to be lighter, like the Pinot Noir parent. They're doing both over there. But when you're thinking about coffee into a red wine, why go to the Pinot lighter style?
And if you tried Pinotage 10 years ago, 8 years ago, and you're like, I'll never drink that grape again, give it another day in court. Right? The Pinotages are coming out of South Africa, and indeed still do come out of South Africa, unfortunately.
99.8% of it.
Yeah. The KWV sponsored Pinotage vineyards that taste like burnt rubber. I mean, they're just
very adhesive, wet Band-Aid.
Yeah, wet. I was going to say that, like a burnt Band-Aid. Just unpalatable. But there's a lot of good Pinotage out there. And by a lot, I mean a few.
Not large production.
Right.
I mean, that's the key. That's the key. It's a small little berry. It garnered the worst characteristics of both parent grapes. Small little berries, thin-skinned berries like Pinot Noir, early ripening like Pinot Noir, and harsh, gamey, tannic edges of Cinsault. And so being early ripening, you're harvesting in the hottest days of summer. If you don't get those little berries into the wine and get them cooled down, they'll pop and they become rancid. That's where you get that adhesive character.
This is delicious.
Really,
really spectacular. I'm very impressed with it. And after you take a big sip out of it, and work it in your mouth a little bit, I still get that little bit of coffee mocha to it.
Right.
I mean,
but I can almost with Clarence, almost like caterpillar. You like that dark
you know what
it
reminds me of? There's a coffee house, I can't remember the name of it, but they make they take a blueberry, a dry blueberry, they roll it in espresso grindings and cover it in dark chocolate.
Yeah, I've seen
that's what this reminds me of. Yeah, and it is delicious because you get that core blueberry fruit to it, that wonderful dark chocolate, and not the bitterness of the dark chocolate, just the richness of the dark chocolate, but none of the creamy, milky characteristics of it. And then just that touch of espresso bean. And good espresso beans, by the way, should not be bitter.
No.
Right? A lot of times you get these espresso beans that are either too old, you buy them from a big commercial house, and they're not freshly roasted in darkness, and you get that bitter burnt flavor to them. They shouldn't be bitter.
A little oily, yes, but not
but definitely not burnt and bitter. Wow.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the first time I've shown this wine. This wine won't arrive to the U.S. until next week, and a week from today on the 14th, our first container should arrive. Be the first in your neighborhood to show people what the future for this grape especially.
Well, we're going to put an offering in on this right away.
This is such a cool wine.
It's an incredible wine.
It's not going to set your pocket book back too much. You know, typically you're talking about $18. You know, we're probably going to get down, punch me down and grind me down and put me over a burnt fire or a roasted fire. So we'll get down in that.
Well, I won't use my cruelty whip. I'll use my motivational whip.
I feel so much better now. I had that to look forward to, folks. But yeah, we're gonna get down to that, that 15 range, that lower mid-teen range right now. So
I'll tell you what. At $20 a bottle, this is a steal. I mean, at 20 a bottle, it's a steal. If we can get this down to $15.99, it's gonna be smoking good stuff. Just spectacular. And you can tell
food to go with this too, man. You could go anything.
Funky label. I mean, the label didn't turn me on right off the bat, but you can tell this isn't really even set up for America yet. You had to stick the old Surgeon General warning on there, and the sample purposes only resale.
Bonding warehouses and all the taxes we pay to get fresh samples in for everybody to taste.
That is just delicious. I'm going to pour a drop more. Very good.
But this is the new age. This is one of the new faces of what's coming out. But again, you've got to be specific about your grapes. Otherwise, you end up with. There's other ones out there that have more of that Pinot Noir character to it, and it's fun. They're fun. They're really good, well made. I just worry about in 2 years if that lighter body style is not going to carry that coffee. It's going to become disjointed. This bigger, richer, softer, plush style.
The sad thing about Pinotage is for years. People would say, oh, I had this Pinotage out of South Africa, can you recommend one? And I'd recommend Celskin out of California. A California Pinotage. Because they were just doing things right with it. They were just making better Pinotage. They weren't trying to push the extremes of the grape that led to those bad attributes. They were just trying to produce a good solid wine. That's what they do. This is not extremes in the vineyard, it's extremes in the winery. And that's a great thing. I mean, they really did a good job with it. It goes against a little bit, the heavy toasting, the using oak influence. It goes against some of the things I personally don't stand for in wines. But at $15, this blows away the competition.
If the wine will hold it, then let it.
Let it do. Yeah, I mean, it isn't overpowering. The wood isn't overpowering the wine here. The wood is, even though with all the extremes of the wood, the heavy toasting, the heavy use of it, it's still pushing up the grape. And it's still supporting the grape. And that's really the key. I guess I'm not opposed to heavy oak use if it works. If it doesn't become the driving force behind the wine, and this doesn't. This is tremendous.
And the oak, that heavy toasted stave, they stave it because if they barreled it, would be over the top. But that's how you get that coffee. Is twice as many staves, but only for like 2 months.
Beautiful stuff.
Really cool stuff.
Very amazing. That's a winner there. That's outstanding.